All right, leveling a shaman, teaching you everything about what I'm thinking about when I'm doing the story, which quests I do, and everything like that. Let's go right away. So, shaman leveling. Let's start it out. So I have like almost nothing on this character in my stash. I will not use anything in my stash or anything like that. I don't even think I have something. But first of all, you start out in the old road. In this area, you summon your wolf. You don't really have to kill stuff if you don't want to, but it will make it easier if you do so, right? You don't have to talk to this NPC. You can kill a couple monsters. Or gather them up. Hit with your melee attack so that you have a little bit of AoE. You'll notice that you don't have to talk to a lot of NPCs. Like, there are only certain ones that you want to talk to get some passive and idle points. Like big packs of monsters, you can stop, you know, kill them a little bit. Get some XP. And then we're good to go. So during this run, we will be leveling with totems. Shaman is a class that excels at using totems because it gets some resistances out of using totems, just because of its mastery bonus. You get minus spell mana cost for totems as well. Now we see that we can replace this. It has more melee damage. We're gonna replace this by this. Here, I like to save this guy because he will help you kill the next boss, right? If you save him, he follows you and he helps you kill like the following monsters in this area. So talk to this NPC. I am also going to show you how to set up a loot filter for leveling with this character as well. So early on, you don't have access to too much, right? But you want to try to scale dot damage, like elements, like bleeds, ignites, and stuff like that, if you can. If you have some of those on your weapons, it's incredibly useful because they have a high flat damage for the early game, and so they are made very, very effective at dealing with monsters. The howl from your wolves gives you an increase in attack speed, right? So if you can manage to grab it, okay, here I don't have any mana. Right. Grab these items so that you can sell to the next vendor and have some gold to buy some stuff from the vendor. I do have a little bit of gold here. Although when you first start out, you won't have any gold. Alright, so we're reaching the town. We are level 3. Your first points are going to go into natural attunement. To get attunement, which is going to scale your damage later on with your totems and stuff. And it gives you resistances early on. It's just really good. Very early, you want to try to scale your damage as much as possible to have a good time. So this is the vendor you want to go to. Here, what do we have? You want to try to find... Here, you want to try to find some boots with movement speed, right? So boots have implicits for movement speed. Here, this one has 7%. I'll grab this one. You can grab whatever you want. Ideally, I like going for silver rings if there are any. Right now, there aren't, because the silver rings have a base implicit for movement speed. We got spell damage, chance to stun. See that we don't have anything that has bleed chance on melee hit or on hit would have been really, really good. But we don't happen to have those. I'm just going to buy a couple of pieces of gear that might be useful for me later on. Actually, I need this. Right? So let's go ahead and you also want to buy your first set of items will have 0 forging potential, so you want to replace all the gear that you have as quickly as possible, right? So that you're able to craft on your items. Remember, the biggest tip in this game is to craft early and often, right? Don't forget to look at the implicit for items that you find. So, for example, this ruby amulet will have like a little bit of health on it and stuff like that. So each item usually have an implicit that can be super useful for you. So talk to that vendor. You don't need to talk to this NPC, and then we continue. At level 4, we will unlock Thorn Totem. Thorn Totem we will be speccing into. It's going to be your first skill that you spec into, and your main skill that you will. Right? I like to reach level 4 in this area here. Alright, we are now level 4. We're going to Thorn Totem. The first node that we're going to get is we're going to go down here to try to grab the single projectile with increased cast speed. And then we're going to get a 1 pierce. So these are the nodes that we rush on Thorn Totem. Again, our next point is also going to be into a natural attunement. Or more attunement. As we can see, totems, you can summon 2 at first when you first unlock them. And they scale with attunement, right? They get 4% increased damage per attunement, and they also gain health. So that is very good. That is why we go for natural attunement. Totems can be pretty rough on mana early on. And keep in mind, if you use your Howl ability, it also buffs the cast speed of your totems. But it will use up a lot of your mana, so be wary of that when you're using it. You can use Fury Leap to as your movement ability to go through the map. Totems are also very good at grabbing aggro off of you. If you cast a totem in between you and the monster that you're fighting, there's a good chance that your totem takes the hit instead. This guy, you gotta be wary of his fire meteor. They actually hurt quite a bit in the early game. So the stats that you would be looking for would be attunement and minion damage to try to scale your totem's damage as much as possible. This circle is the wolf circle, so that you, if you stand in it, you revive him. Right? Now we're gonna do a quest to get a, I believe it's a passive point. Here we got level 5. At level 5, right? And when you unlock your next level into totems, you go here for the crit chance and damage. Again, to go towards the node that will bring us to a single projectile totem. Right? So the first thing you want to see in your loot filter here, we're going to add a rule. We're going to create a new filter, right? It's going to be called Shaman leveling. Shaman leveling, okay? What we want to do is recolor. I like to recolor and emphasize, right? So you can use any color that you want. First of all, there are certain affixes that you will want to see early on. It's going to be in the element category, right? And it's going to be chance to bleed early on, chance to ignite, chance to poison. Any element that actually damage monsters, I like to see those early on, right? And I like to have them recolored. So show all items with 3 affixes. This rule is only going to be good in the early game. So I will only put this rule between level 1 and level 10, for example, right? So once we reach level 10, we stop seeing these items that have a chance to bleed and whatnot on hit. So because we're not going to be using them, we're going to be using our totems instead. So show me all the items with these affixes. There's another rule that I really like to do. I will select another color. Also emphasize. It's going to be an affix, and it's going to be things that we want to see all the time for movement. We're going to see movement speed, right? Anything that has movement speed on it will be shown to you, right? And the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to select a color again and emphasize it. And this is going to be the minion stuff that we want to see, right? So anything that has minion damage, minion physical damage, minion spell damage, because your Thorn Totem is actually a spell as well. As you can see with the minion tag, it scales physical and spell. So that is all good. In the Primalist tree, there are a couple of things you want to see as well. Minion chance to bleed on hit. If you can find that, that's very, very good. There are some idols as well. So minion, where is it? Minion chance to bleed, minion chance to poison. Early on, as I said, elements are extremely strong, so you will definitely want to see those. Spell damage for you and your minions. Yeah, that's pretty much the things that you want to see. So I put this in the color. This one is going to be for damage, right? You can also include attunement in here because attunement also scales the damage of your minions. So let's add this one here. And then let's add another rule that I like to put. This one I'm going to put in blue, right? Blue emphasized. This one is going to be for defense. Also going to be affixes, but it's going to be a little bit different. This one is going to be physical res. Physical resistance is the most important one in the entire campaign. But there's also early on void res, and you might want to see some necrotic res as well. So I'd say physical is the most important one. For the early part of the game, void res, and probably necrotic res for a later act that we're going to need some necrotic res to ease the damage that we're taking. So those items, there's also a couple of items that you might want to see, right, in health, for increased health and hybrid health. Those are rarer, so that you won't find many of these, but you can include them in your early filter. Right? So those are going to be my first rules that I put. It's still going to show every other item. At some point, we might start hiding items that we don't want to see anymore. So you need to talk to this soldier to get the passive point that you just got from this point. And we continue. Again, our point, natural attunement. So you really just want to max out natural. Grab the potions, grab the items, and here we got a silver ring. We're gonna equip that. Let's see what we have. Did not find anything that great. So let's continue. You don't need to talk to this NPC. Grab some gold out of this. Essentially, like, the biggest time loss, or like the biggest, the most time you're gonna spend in the story, right, that you can get help from your gear, is for single target and bosses, right? So you want to try to have as much damage as possible. So the good thing about totems is that they deal their damage without you having to actually do anything. They kind of deal their damage passively. You can just spawn 2 totems and be on your way. We've got another point into totems. We're going to put a second point into this node. And our next point is going to unlock the single projectile node. Do you do haste on totem cast? Yes. Yes, you want to get haste on totem cast eventually. Whether it is with your idols or on your passive tree. Usually I go for both, and I reach a 100% chance to like get haste on totem cast. But you can certainly manage without having 100%. So here you need to reach this area. The NPC will interact with whatever it is here, and then you'll be able to go through the bridge. Go. Talk to this NPC and go back to town. If you can either go on the waypoint to open the map, or you can just press M and you can right click on the area that you want to go, and it's going to teleport you automatically. For the idols in the loot filter, yes, I do go for those. Here you can go. I mean, we can add a rule for our idols just to recolor as well. I'm gonna recolor red, emphasize. Affix. So keep in mind there are affixes for gear, and then there's also affixes just for idols in general, right? So what do we want to recolor for in general idols? We can go through the list. The things that are gonna help us early on might be some void res, some necrotic res, some, where is it? Physical res. Physical res, right? So those resistances being highlighted, we're not gonna hide the other ones, right? But we're just gonna show these more than the others. There is also chance to bleed on hit. Early on, it's pretty good. Chance to ignite on hit, poison on hit. Shared physical damage is going to share the damage to our totems, right? Then in the primeless idols, you want to see cast speed for totems. You will want to see increased minion chance to bleed on hit and minion chance of poison on hit. Those are really good early on. But the chances of you finding those are pretty slim, honestly. Crit chance for totem, chance to gain haste when you summon totem. So these are going to be the most important ones. Totem damage. Okay. And the order that you have the rules in your filter are going to be the order that overrule every single rule under them, right? So if I had something like hide all idols at the bottom, and I have these rule at top, well, these will still show. But if hide all idols was at the top, these would not show. Let's go ahead and check what this vendor has now.
Right.
If he has anything for us, right? Lightning. Okay. You see, got the chance to ignite on hit. This is going to be pretty good for the upcoming boss. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Got some dodge rating here. Right, so we got a spear with chance to ignite on hit. And don't forget, if you find some shards and you can't craft more onto this, I'm not gonna use these because like I already have like many shards. But if you have some, please craft early and craft often. If you want to have like physical res, health, anything like that, it's very good early. So this NPC you actually have to talk to. Currently in this current version, if you don't talk to this NPC and you continue the story, you will not be able to get the reward from this quest, and you'll have to do another quest to get all your passive and idols. Hey Sharky, what's going on? So we still haven't found anything for our minion damage, but that doesn't really matter. We'll find some later on, right? And we highlighted them in our filter so that anything that is green, we know it's like pretty good for damage for us. Unique monsters always drop a rare item. So if you want, see, got something out of it. Product lightning damage, increase stun chance. Nothing good for us, but if you encounter a rare monster, right, it will always drop a rare item. Chilling with COVID? How bad is it? So in a speed run, I would not be killing as many monsters, but you know, just because I want to show the actual feeling of what it would feel like to level with this mastery, or pretty much like there aren't many players that would just skip all monsters and just go straight to the boss, right? I think most people would actually kill some monsters first. So I'm gonna try to do my best to showcase like how this build plays when you are not just playing, you know, regularly, like 90% of people would play. I still might skip a little bit, but I'm not gonna skip too much. Okay, so here we got our first boss.
Reaching me was impressive, but it's mine.
You can also command your wolf to go somewhere or to attack with the A key on your keyboard. You can also put Etheros Blessing on your bar here. I'm now level 7 and I unlock Etheros Blessing, I believe at 6 or 7 or something like that. But Etheros Blessing, you can cast it either on your minions or on yourself, and it gives you a huge healing actually. It also gives 100% increased damage to some of your minions if you cast it on them. Right? So you could like cast it on one of your totems to give it increased damage. 100% early on is pretty cute. Okay, why did this... Oh, because we had something emphasized here. Wait, this one is not... This one did not confirm the green color. We wanted green color for this one. Why did it not save, actually? That one as well, we wanted green, no? I'm pretty sure we did do the green stuff. And then for this one, we did put another color. Wait. That was actually bugged. Okay. Now we have some green stuff, so we know that we found something pretty good for us, right? This one has 33% chance to bleed, which is going to be better. Actually, it's probably not better than 50% chance to ignite. Got some more ignite. If you find some ignite shards, for example, here, I just found a rune of shattering. You can shatter it. You have a chance to get some shards out of it, and then you can put some more. Well, it requires level 9, but that should be good. All right. But you can craft more chance so that you get more damage. Talk to this NPC and go back to town.
I must reach Lena at once.
Sneezing a lot, which is kind of annoying, but other than that, a running nose and my throat hurts a little. That's not too bad. What's up, Eckler? Aren't they going to rework Shaman in 1.0? Yes, but technically, the Shaman tree is going to get reworked. Actually, you don't have to talk. The Shaman tree is going to get reworked. They are removing and adding new skills. I believe Ice Thorns is getting removed. Tempest Strike is getting reworked. So talk to these two NPCs. After you talk to this guy, you don't have to do anything. You will be teleported to the next area. They are going to rework Shaman, but I believe totem leveling would still be very good. Don't know for sure because 1.0 is not here yet, but if anything, I will make another leveling guide for this. So here, grab the shard and let's go. So what do we have? Don't have that. Keep casting totems, killing stuff on the way. Rare monster, we're gonna kill it. Here he dropped us a nice little staff of something. It has... Wait, why did it... On this one. Oh, it's this thing with chance to ignite on hit. You don't need to talk to this NPC. So we just leveled up to level 8 and we unlocked another skill slot specialization. Let me kill these monsters first. For your next specialization, you can wait because I will be speccing to Stormcrows and you're not gaining much from other things. But for the time being, I will spec into Swipe and try to get the bleed chance to get as much damage as possible again because elements are very strong early game. Then talk to this NPC. This one unlocks you a quest that you can do. You need to go rescue, like find a guardsman and other trapped guards. And this will give you some other rewards that you need to get all of your passive and idols from. There are more quests than necessary in the story to get your passive and idols. But the ones I'm showing you guys today are going to be the ones that are mostly used in speedruns. So they are like the most effective. In our next point, we're going to go into minion damage here as well. Just to be able to unlock the Wisdom of the Wild once we have enough points. And that's going to be also for me. We've got another point into our totems. We finally have the single projectile node. Movement speed. Ooh, this guy actually hurt me quite a bit. Wasn't careful there. So you can just keep going and rescue all the guards. We summon a wolf. Level 9. Level 9, one more point into minion damage here. Our next points are going to go into Wisdom of the Wild. So we are now using Swipe, and we're taking into the Bleed chance. That will help us greatly. Early on as well, regen per second can be a very good way to sustain your health. Here, health regen per second, right? There are two stats, increased health regen and flat health regen. Flat early on is really good. Added health shard. Alright, that was the kind of like a mini boss here. Here, as you can see, you grab some health. I had some health, physical resistance shard. I will be starting to craft on my gear. Use up any affixes that you have at your disposal. Talk to this NPC here. Grab the passive point. And this one here will give you idols. Alright, he drops you 2 idols all the time. And you finally unlock your first idol slot. So here, do I want to get health on kill and poison res? Or shock and minion cold damage? I am going to grab the health on kill. That can also be like really useful early on. Keep in mind that your totems do not count as your kills. They are their own entity.
Yes.
So they will only, the health on kill won't apply to you. Here I'm looking for silver rings again. I'm looking for anything that would be beneficial to my damage. Anything that has minion damage on it or something like that. There's nothing much here. Yeah, there is like nothing much. We have a silver ring there.
Yes.
Actually sell the rest of our things that we need. Chance to ignite. Alright.
Follow your feet.
Next point, into Wisdom of the Wild to get more minion damage. We're heading to Urza's library for another side quest here. This quest will give you access to one of two items. Either gloves that makes you leech on elemental damage, or an amulet that makes you crit if you have not crit recently. My choice for this character right now is going to be to grab the health leech on elemental damage, since we have a source of ignite that will affect it and that will give us a little bit of sustain. Either way, for this build, both aren't really that great because essentially eventually we're gonna only have like totem damage, right? So this one, chance to... We have a lot of chance to ignite on here. We have even more chance to ignite. But we can only craft one. Let's go with this. Can we also bleed or something? Chance. For example, chance to... Oh, don't have anything else. Right, let's go with this. Point into Wisdom of the Wild. Here, even more bleed chance. As you can see, once I apply elements on monsters, it's very, very easy to go through their health bar. Nice. We've got a scepter out of it with chance to ignite it as well. So we are level 10. After this level, we won't be finding any more items because our rule, we only set it for between level 1 and 10, right? We won't be finding any other items that have like chance to ignite, bleed, and stuff like that. It will only concentrate on like minion damage and the minion stuff. Trying to hit as many as possible in one melee attack. Right? And there we go. We've got Forestry Axe of Conflagration. Chance to ignite as well. We don't need this. We go back to town. Now this is where we're gonna get the reward from our passive quest. Not our passive, from our side quest that we did. If you talk to this guy, you'll get the amulet. If you talk to this guy, you'll get the gloves. So we're gonna talk to this guy to get the gloves, right? You could have done this before going into the fight with the Elder Panions as well. Talk to this one to get a passive point, and let's get go. One more point. We're gonna go for one pierce. So we're gonna pierce one enemy with our totems. Just get a little bit better clear. And then we're gonna start going for like the totem sustain for when we unlock our Spriggan form, which is gonna be, I believe, in chapter 3. Something along those lines. Here, just follow the path. Keep killing monsters. Keep buffing your spell damage. We just unlocked Summon Stormcrows, right? From putting points into our passive tree. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna unspec from Swipe, right? I'm going to spec into Stormcrow. I'm going to go for the Crow Storm things. And the Crow Storm damage. So let's put this like this. Let's put this like so. Let's I'm gonna summon my crows. Crows are also minions, so they also will benefit from all of your minion stats that you're stacking, as well as your attack. And then the active ability from crows actually does quite a bit of damage. And it's AoE, right? So hopefully we get something good here. What is it, metal? Vitality and Void Res. Void Res is going to be very good for us, so we're going to take this. And we've got a Wolf Pelt with Physical Res, so eventually we're going to switch to that. Level 12, some more passive points. Here you enter the precipice, and then instead of following through the right side, you go to the left side. That will bring you to another side quest that will give you some more rewards again for passive and others. Alright, one more point into the pros. At this point, this is what our Summon Thorn Totem tree looks like. We've got a single projectile with one pierce, and we've got the crows, which we're going to be going for the teleport with Crow Storm here. And our passive, Natural Attunement, 2 points into Primal Medicine to get access to Wisdom of the Wild. And after this, we're going to buff Primal Medicine up to 20 points into Primal Medicine. So you don't have to talk to that NPC over here. The active ability from crows is like really, really useful. Does a bunch of damage. One shots most of it. Oh, we got a unique. Let's see what it is. Amulet, Bleeding Heart. So Bleeding Heart is not going to be super useful for us because our damage comes from our minions, and also if we ever cast spells, for example, you also get a stack of bleed on you. So for our build, it's not going to be that useful. So nice. If you need the gold, you can sell it, or you can. So here you need to kill this guy, Ulikos the Betrayer. That is going to complete the quest. Got a shield here. I don't really need that shield. So we just got an extra passive point, so we're going to put it in Primal Medicine. And another one. Let's go again. By this point, as you can see, I have no minion damage stats at all on my gear, but I'm starting to deal significant damage with my totems and my crows just because of the attunement and the minion damage I get from my passive. And if you want to buff your totem as well even more, you can use Etheros Blessing to get 100% more damage on it. Well, not more damage, but increase. And I'm still using Swipe to fill in the gap. And the crows as well early on are not that bad actually. We got an amulet with physical resistance, 12%. That is pretty good. Toxic leather belt. Felt like it has minion damage, so that's gonna be our first source of minion damage on gear. All right. You don't need to talk to this NPC. Transfer this. That's gonna be our first source of minion damage eventually. So I'm just walking through. When there's big packs, I cast my pro ability. Got another point into Summon Thorn Totem. We are going to go up here into one extra totem to get the mana when they are unsummoned afterward. That is going to be your goal to get there as quickly as possible. So that when we unlock our Spriggan form, we'll be able to spam them and sustain our rage in that form.
Stay back.
This ability always go into clockwise rotation, so make sure to start on the good side of this boss. This ability can kill you, so you must be careful. We got some other gloves again. Nothing too insane here. This is the 2-hour run. I don't think it's going to take that much longer, honestly. At this point, if you have some gold, right? You can check this vendor here if he has anything good for you. See, we got some void res out of this one. We've got this with health. I'm gonna take this because it's just better than with what we have right now. A 7% ring. Okay. Okay, we're good. And then we also have our physical res helm that we had here. And then there's the minion damage belt that we're going to use a little bit later. So I don't need this throwing damage. I don't need this this eater. So damage is just health. Minion damage is just health. We don't need that. Let's just sell everything. Except this belt. And if you can, if you have some shards, make sure to use them and craft on your gear. See? Here I can use minion damage and I have 2 glyphs of hope. So I will use those to try to get as much damage as possible out of here. You can get some attunement out of this as well. So craft on your gear and craft often, guys. I'll go for armor. That's good. Do we have any movement speed shards? We have 2 movement speed shards. We have no more forging potential. That's okay. Fizz res. We're going to go for health as well. Okay. Here I like to go, let's go for more fizz res as well. And let's go for maybe some void res. Right? Make sure that you are crafting and increasing your chances of survival, and it's just gonna feel better. You know? It's gonna feel better. Here I like to go with Sky Passage. You don't have to do this, but for me, it's just so that you can teleport with Crowstorm, and that enables you to skip certain parts that you would not be able to skip with any other traversal skill. Here we choose our mastery, Shaman, right? And then we are going to go into Summon Storm Totem that we're going to put on our bar here.
I see that you are still you. That strength will be necessary.
So there are you have 2 choices here, right? You could either keep Stormcrow as your movement ability, which is what I usually do, but you could also just, if you don't want to, like, you know, skip parts and like do like speedrunning strat, you could just go into Storm Totem as well, which I think this is what I'm going to show you guys today. You go into Storm Totem. A couple things that are nice in Storm Totem. You can grab 40% movement speed when you have it, or you could go for the damage first, right? So I am going to go for the damage first on this run. Here you want to talk to this guy.
There is an old passage to the surface.
Greetings.
And then you're on your way. So now we have 20 points into the Primalist tree, and we've unlocked we've unlocked our mastery. Our next points are going to go into the Druid tree, so that we unlock the Spriggan form. So here, Storm Totem lasts for longer, right? Compared to Thorn Totem. And it, I mean, you're scaling minion damage, so you're essentially scaling both of these at the same time. This is also a point where you can start thinking about what you would want for a weapon, right? So we're gonna add another rule. We are going to show, not show, we're gonna emphasize and recolor as green as well. And item type, it's going to be a two-handed axe. The two-handed axe that we're looking for is going to be the bearded axe at level 21, up to 50% increased minion damage. So that is going to be something that we're going to be looking for. Essentially, anything that says minion damage is good. Open Void Res on this one. This one has... this one has minion damage. I'd rather keep the minion damage as see what this guy gives us. Like, at this point, you would really like to have minion damage on your weapon. If you have some gold, you could also go gamble at the Gambler. Actually, let me show you guys the Gambler as well. So we're gonna go into the hit damage against shocked enemies first for this, so that it just improves our clear a little bit. Nice thing you can do with Storm Totem is you cast your Storm Totem and you give it 100% increased damage with Idris Blessing. So what you can do is at the end of time, and there's also one in the Council Chambers, but there is a Gambler which can, for a certain amount of gold, give you some magic or rare items, right? You go to this guy, Artem the Gambler, and then say, for example, we are looking for a... We are essentially looking for minion damage on a two-hander to get even bigger stats, right? So we're gonna look for two-handers.
Looks powerful.
With minion damage, if we can.
Just means you're due for a big one. Don't worry. Maybe it'll help you along the way.
Looking for a staff.
Good choice. You have a good eye. Excellent choice. Interested in another try? Not bad.
We're actually not very lucky here. Well, cast speed is better because we actually scale off of cast speed as well. The summoning time for our totems is based on cast speed. Well, we are super unlucky with these.
That's a winner.
Okay, I'm not going to waste any more time here, but if you have the gold, you can do it. That's all I wanted to say. Try to get a weapon with minion damage. You know, depending on how much gold you have at this point, you might not have that much gold anyways. So go for whatever you need. If you feel like you need more damage, or if you feel like you need something else. The Gambler is here to help you guys. At this point, it's pretty easy. Walk in the park. So we are slowly approaching a part of the game which is actually quite difficult if if you're not prepared for it. Level 15, we're gonna put 1 point into our druid, giving us endurance and armor here. You could also go for the health and mana. Oh, we actually got a Falcon. Falcon would give us movement speed if you hit an enemy in the last couple seconds. But we're not really hitting because mostly our minions, which are our totem. And as I said before, minions don't count as heroes. So we're just trying to go to the other zone, which is the cultist camp. No, it's the... Yeah, the cultist camp. Gotta watch out in between loading zones here because, like, when you click on the zone for the loading, you are still vulnerable to damage from enemies sometimes. Alright, so here you don't have to talk to any NPCs, you just head straight down. In our Summon Storm Totem tree, we're gonna go for more damage here as well. So let's go to the Welryn Docks. Here we have one more passive, putting it in our druid tree again. Once we have 5 points, we'll be able to swap to Spriggan form, which is going to be insanely useful for having tons of armor, tons of healing, because we are going to essentially summon healing totems, which are also going to be shooting thorn. And it's going to be utilizing the thorn totem tree. So you have to kill this void monster here to complete the quest. So you talk to this, try to grab this thing. This enemy will spawn, and then you can go back and grab it. Right? Grab the symbol. Let's go see what these guys gave us. I don't actually need that. So from here, you go back to the cultist camp. Our next point is going to go into you regain mana when a Thorn Totem dies or is unsummoned, right? If you reach the limit of your totems and you cast another one, it unsummons the oldest one to cast the new one. So that will give you mana back. And as you will see in Spriggan form, we're going to cast 3 totems on 1 cast. So that is going to give us a lot of mana back, and that is going to be our source of sustain for our rage when we are transformed. So here, the nice skip that you can do if you are spec'd into Stormcrows for the Sky Passage node for the teleport is you go right here, right next to the edge of this little corner here, and then you put your mouse not completely to the exact corner of the of your screen, but just like maybe about here, but completely down, and you will teleport to this area here, and you'll be able to go into the next area instead of having to do the entire detour. Is going to be like this, like this, like this, like this, right? So you are essentially able to skip one of the hardest area in the game at this stake. If you don't have any physical or void resistance in here, you are in for maybe not that good of a time. But Storm Totem, like, really carries here. Storm and Torn Totems, they both carry pretty good. That's not too bad, actually. Physical res, 5%. Might keep it. Don't forget to use your Crow Storm ability to clear big packs of enemies. Grabbing some potions. Alright, so one of the hardest part in the game, done. There's another like pretty big spike in another part of the game, but that is this one is probably the hardest one. We've got some things here. What is this? This one is Fierce Multi. This one is minion damage. Okay, so we got some minion damage gloves. That's good. We got another minion damage belt. Right? Oh, I forgot to actually... Yeah. What? Oh, because it crit, I can't equip it anymore. Yeah, I forgot to... You can easily lose, like, lose track of an item that you keep in your forge, actually. Pretty easy. Oh, we crit on minion damage now. And we have one more point to put. We're gonna put it into damage against shocked enemies in here. And here we're gonna put our points into the same node, Chitinous Plating, that we were using. Here you need to kill all 3 soul repository. So just cast your totems, pretty easy. There are 3 in the area. And then you go talk to this guy again. Alright, talk to him again. Go back to town, to the cultist camp. And you'll be able to progress. You talk to this NPC here, and you can go to the ritual site. By this point, we are level 18. I will put one more point into Chitinous Plating. Our tree looks like this. So we're going for the Memories of Eterra to gain some mana back. And we have Summon Storm Totem, which is spec for a little bit more damage. This guy, you got a boss fight coming up. So I will buff my totems with with Ethra's Blessing. And it's a pretty easy fight. Gotta watch out for the ad. The ad actually does a lot of damage if he hits you. So nothing too good here. I would still like to have minion damage on my weapon. Like either minion spell damage or minion physical damage. Okay, so here you want to go up here. You reach a Shattered Valley. Going to the Abandoned Tunnel will get you to a quest that will give you 2 passive points. So this one is really straightforward. You just keep walking till you reach the other area. Oh, another unique. So many uniques, actually. Snowblind, cold res, chance of chill, cannot be blinded. Not insane. Yeah, I'd rather keep my physical res. Shield. So don't feel obligated to like kill every single enemy that you encounter. If you just kill a couple of them on the way, like that's mostly fine, right? Cast like maybe like 1 Storm Totem, 1 Thorn Totem, and go. It kills pretty much everything. Huh? Got some attunement on this thing. Strength and attunement. I'd rather keep my minion damage. So attunement gives you 4% per point for your totems. So 1 attunement is not worth like 10% increase in full damage. Attunement also gives you mana. Okay, so we got 1 point available for Summon Storm Totem. After getting these 3 points, this is where I'm going to start going to the movement speed. So when Storm Totem hits a shocked enemies, not only will it do more damage, but it will give you a buff of movement speed, which with 4 points invested can go up to 40%. So early on in the game, that is really powerful. As you can see, really easy to clear everything here. And yeah, our point is going to go into Chitinous Plating. So we finally unlock Spriggan Form, right? What Spriggan Form will give us is the ability to cast totems that also shoot thorns. And there's also another ability that is really good on Spriggan Form, which is the Summon Vines node. The Summon Vines ability. So when you're in Spriggan Form, your abilities are replaced by other skills. You have Spirit Thorn, which is like your basic attack, basically. You have Thorn Shields, which will increase your armor, right? That you can spam on yourself if you want. And it will explode and explode onto enemies afterward. You have Healing Totem, which basically every so often heals you, and early on this heals you like about full health on every single heal. And then you have Summon Vines. Summon Vine summons these little vines, which are also minions, and they do poison. They apply poison on hit, right? So each cast Summon Vines, you can have up to 12. And these vines are going to be insanely useful to increasing your damage against certain enemies and bosses. Because your totems last for a certain amount of time. Your totems last for a certain amount of time. Here it was the quest that you talk to the book, and then it gives you 2 passive points. Then you go back to the ancient home. What was I saying? Yeah, your totems last for a certain amount of time, and so against bosses, you spam your totems, right? 1 storm and your 3 thorns, and then you swap to Spriggan form, and then you can cast the vines, and then your healing totems, they also use eventually the thorn totem tree, but they don't count as the same totem limit as your thorn totem, right? So you can actually stack storm totem, thorn totems, healing totems which shoot thorns, and also vines. So that's quite a bit of minions to be able to summon, right? So our next point is going to go into the mana gain as well. After these 2 points, because we are a Shaman, and Shaman has access to -5 totem mana cost, we don't need the 3rd point to be able to sustain when we're going to be into Spriggan form. Here, watch out, because certain of these enemies, they inflict bleed on you. See? And that can hurt quite a bit. Right here, I'll summon all my totems. Do this. Summon 1 healing totem, just like to help me out. Then I will summon my vines around this guy. Then I will untransform, recast my totems, right? And then retransform again and summon vines. You don't have to do this, but if you want to increase your damage against single target, this can help you pretty heavy. See, we got some Mercurial Iron Greaves, but this is with movement speed, so we're gonna grab these, and we're gonna craft some more movement speed on it. Because movement speed is pretty damn good, right? So after you're done with the Ancient Forest here, what you can do is go back to the Council Chambers to grab your rewards. You talk to this NPC, and this will give you the 2 idle slots, right? If you need to respec your passive points, you can also respec in here, right? This one you don't have to talk to, but you get an extra little bit of gold and experience from talking. So let's go back to the Shattered Valley, which is where we were before. Yep, craft early and craft often. Always craft, guys. When you find shards, always be crafting. So let's see. Can we actually craft some more things on our gear? So what do we need? So we need to understand that how things work in this game. The area level is the amount of penetrations enemies get towards your defenses. So in an area level 20, you want to have 20 physical res or 20 void res or 20 of any res to be able to mitigate as much damage as possible. So right now, I am missing some physical, I am missing some void, and I'm missing some other things, right? So I would like to have some more physical res. But my amulet here is going to give me physical and void res eventually at level 22. Unfortunately, we got a crit on a very bad stat. So I'm not able to equip it. But we're going to keep this, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. Things I would like to have is more main damage, maybe more health. Well, health is pretty good here. I'm going to craft on our health. Body armors have higher rolls for stuff. For for affixes. So we're gonna craft on this. We're gonna go for can we get attunement? We cannot get attunement, so we don't. That's fine. Oh, do we have some minion shards? We don't have. No. I'm just gonna keep it like this. I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty tanky. Yeah, overall feels just like extremely good. So we unlocked our third. Oh yes, we unlocked our third skill specialization as well, right? So what we're gonna do is go into Spriggan form, and we're gonna rush this node here, so that Thorn Totem tree benefits healing totem. Once we have that, all of our healing totems that we cast in Spriggan form are going to use a Thorn Totem. One more point into Storm Totem for the move speed. Then we should have a couple of passive, right? In our passives, what I like to do is go for Summon Spriggan early, because the buffs that Summon Spriggan can give you is going to be 15 flat spell damage and 8% base crit and some crit avoidance. So those are going to be like really powerful early on. We're going to go into this node, Druidic Prowess. That's going to give us some more attunement to boost our damage even further. If you have the crows, another nice skip. If you have the traversal crows, right? You can skip from here to here, but with just the regular Fury Leap, you cannot. Because there are some skills in this game that bypasses like terrain obstacles, and some other that do not. Wait, why am I? Oh, bearded axe. So we found our bearded axe, which gives us 30% increased minion damage. We're gonna equip it. Here, more passives into Druidic Prowess. As you can see, with the buff from Storm Totem, we're now at 51% movement speed, pretty much all the time. And if we only have 2 points in it, we're gonna have 20% more. Well, 20% more than we have right now. Here, I'll go with 3 totems, my Storm Totem, 1 healing totem, and I just spam my... As you can see, I'm stacking really a lot of poison on this guy. Resummon. And he's down. So, like, Primalist starts pretty weak early on, but he gets to a point where you're just absolutely blasting the story. And, like, everything dies passively around you. Here you need to kill these little void wing nests. And the Abyssal Fiend to unlock the passageway to the other side. Another thing to note with Thorn Totem is that when you summon them, they immediately shoot a Thorn. So the ability actually scales with your increased cast speed for your character. Like, if you have Infinite Sustain for mana or rage or whatever, if you cast your totems faster, you'll deal more damage. So you have more DPS. But you can usually scale your cast speed much better than your totem's cast speed. So now we've got 1 point into spike totems here. In this area, you want to go to both sides of the of this area. To gather the pieces needed to unlock the passageway. Now I can show you. If I go into Spriggan form, right? These are my healing totems. They also shoot the thorns from my thorn totem tree. And every time they are on summon, they give me the mana back, just like the totem tree, right? Going to play some Rim World before Nier Automata tonight. Right, so here you talk to this chest, you go into the ancient temple, then you get this chest. You can go back to the ruined temple if you want with this portal, but it's actually faster if you just load another zone and come back. So you'll end up at the waypoint and you're closer to the other side of the area, which you need to go grab the other shard. So you teleport here and then you teleport back. It can be any area that you teleport to. You just need to go out of that Lotus Halls area and then back into it. So here we already went to the left side, so now we're gonna go to the right side. Have one more point. Here. Minion spell damage. So this is pretty nice because we have minions. Actually, we already have 2 suffixes. Oh wait, this also has minion damage on it. So we have 22 plus 15. That's actually a little bit higher than 30. We are going to equip this. For the time being. Oh, lots of green stuff. We like green. Alright. We finally got a staff with 87% increased minion spell damage. That's going to be much better than what we have. Much better than what we have. Ideally, you would want to have this on the bearded axe, right? But same thing here, right? We just grabbed the item that we had to grab. So now we go back and forth so that we end up on the waypoint, and we're going to be right next to the place where we need to place the item. Go back into the same area, Lotus Halls. That is a fairly nice staff, yeah. That is a fairly nice stat. And we should also be able to remove. So I'm going to try, if you use a rune of removal, it actually gives you the shard guaranteed, right? I'm going to try to get the minion spell damage removed here. Okay, so we got it. Let's see if we can actually craft this even more. Yep. Now we have 114 increased spell damage on this bad boy. So this is not going to be used anymore. Not going to be used anymore. Yeah, so now we're pretty good to go. Like, we're going to deal significant amount of damage. You place the items on these two things, and the passageway opens. In our Summon Thorn Totem, now that we have the basic sustain and the pierce and the single projectile, we are now going to go for damage nodes. In here, we're going to go for always summon 3 totems, right? And it gives you 1 additional max totem. So now we'll be able to sustain our form no matter what. And we're essentially blasting from this point on. It's gonna be super easy. See, now if I go into this form, if I keep spamming totems, I regain rage more than I lose, right? So if you wanted, you could just stay in this form forever and just keep going. Although if you do this, you're not, if you only stay in this form, you cannot cast your storm totems unless you get a unique item, which you cannot get right now. So I am not going to do this for now because I want to cast storm totem as well. But it's gonna help us tremendously later on because when you are in Spriggan form, remember you're casting healing totems. That's an insane source of sustain. And eventually we'll have some armor nodes here, which gives you a lot of flat armor and increased armor. So we're going to be so much more survivable when we are going to be in Spriggan. I'm casting all of my totems, all of my things in human form. Swapping, casting all of my totems that I can, and then putting down my vine. And then repeating this process, right? And as easy as this, the boss is dead. Alright. Yeah, so the shape-shifting back and forth is exactly for that. Because your totems last for a certain amount of time. Because they last for a certain amount of time, you have time to actually put them down and then swap to the Spriggan form. And the healing totems from Spriggan form, they don't use the same totem limit as your Summon Thorn totems. So you can have all of your Thorn totems, your Storm totem, and your healing totems that also shoot out the thorns from the Thorn tree. But they don't count as the same limit. So I'm using all my totems, I'm spamming vines, and then once I have my cooldown to go back into human form, which is about the point where my human form totems are about to time out, well, I can recast them and I keep a better uptime on my DPS. So here you need to go talk to this NPC and click on this portal. You'll be teleported to the next area in the Imperial era. If you don't want to do that shapeshifting for mapping to reduce playstyle complexity, how much DPS do you think you lose? In the story, you lose quite a bit, but it's you won't really you will lose some DPS, but like you really don't have to do it like that, right? You could just stay into Spriggan form and just spam your totems. It will be a super safe playstyle. Always get the healing totems. And I don't know, maybe you probably lose at least least 50% of your DPS, or maybe a bit more. But it really essentially it doesn't matter because it's kind of overkill, and you only do that for bosses, right? I mean, you only do that for bosses, and that's only for the story. Because the end game build of this is going to be just staying in Spriggan form always. But as you can see, if I stay in Spriggan form, I still do like a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, this one is pretty good actually. Look at this. 80 plus 27. And if I do this, and then if I'm gonna try. Did I get it? I think I got it. Now we have 109 plus 27. We have an even better weapon, actually. Alright, so here what I want to do, I got my 5 points to attunement, strength, and all attributes. I'm gonna go into the minion physical damage and minion poison damage now. Like, you could just stay like this forever, basically. That is the simplest playstyle that you can do. But I like to get the movement speed with Storm Totem, so let's go human form. And getting our movement ability. There is one ring that you could get that would give you a movement ability in Spriggan form, which is called Silva Frond. When you use vines, it teleports you instead. But it gives it a cooldown. It's something that I use in the end game, but for the story, especially, you wouldn't be able to equip it this full level. So here we're gonna go for even more movement speed from Storm Totem, and we're gonna go for even more maximum totem from Spriggan. You want to reach 6 totems while you are in Spriggan. And we're gonna go for more minion physical and poison. Okay, so here you reach this gate, then you have to clear certain enemies to be able to progress further. Once you kill them, the gate opens up, and you can go. At this point, like, the game becomes easy mode. Also, a little tip, if you really want to just stay into Spriggan form and never leave that form and have a good time sustaining your rage, you might want to put some points into the passive that reduces your rage decay when you are in form. Which I'll show you guys if this loading screen can end. Oop, we actually lost connection to the game servers. these things happen, right? But you could put points instead into Focused Wrath to get reduced Rage Decay to get even more, you know, sustain out of your form early on. So let's go back into here. Real well written. Hope 1.0 has some performance boosts for changing zones. I do hope so as well. It's nice when you're in monos, because in monos, it's essentially always the same zone, right? It would be cool to have, like, yeah, faster loading times. Sure. Okay, so now that we have one more point to spend, we're gonna put it into medium damage as well. I have to do this quest again. Okay, we got the 40% movement speed from someone's Storm Totem now. Now we're sitting at 71% increased movement speed, which is actually pretty nice. Wait, don't tell me we're gonna have another crash. I can't reach the Risen Lake. I'm bricked. No, we're bricked, guys. Is my character bricked? I mean, let's exit game and come back and see. What have I done again? I'm bricked, guys. What have you done again? I haven't done anything. Okay, let me use a bathroom while this opens up. All right, let's see. One more time, guys. Okay, so hopefully this time we don't actually crash a game again. Let's try not killing too much stuff so that we're not like too over leveled for the next areas. So there is a breakpoint that you want to reach for cast speed. You need to like for your cast speed to be an increase in damage for your totems. You need to actually have cast speed faster than your totem, right? It's actually pretty good, no? This health. I actually like this. Okay, can we enter this town? Please work. All right. So, our next point is going to be into Unbound Garden. So now we have the maximum amount of totems in Spriggan form. We're level 26. The next quest you want to do is the one into Corrupted Lake. That one is also going to give you a reward towards getting all your passive and items. So if you have the crow teleport here, one nice skip that you can do, you can see here, you put your cursor completely to the edge of the screen and you can go right to the boss in like one go. Our next point that we're going to put here, again, into the minion damage. And here, you have to do like the entire circle around. The next point that we're going to put, so we have 18% damage here. You would have 17 here, or we have another 18 here. So I'm going to put it into the other 18. Just to get more damage. Ever so slightly more damage. Again, you don't have to swap forms back and forth, but I do like to do it because it's just more damage, right? More optimized. So at this point, right? Get the... So now you unlock Summon Spriggan. Have two choices here, right? If you want to go purely into Spriggan form, you could unspec Storm Totem. Or you could keep going with Storm Totem to get increased movement speed. I think for the purpose of this video, I will show with the companion, and we're just gonna go into Spriggan form all the time and just have a good time from there, right? So this is gonna give you access to a couple of things. You put 3 points here to go into Aura of Kinship, which grants you and your allies additional spell damage. All of your totems are also allies, and so they also get the spell damage from this. So flat spell damage is pretty big. And then after this flat spell damage, we're going to go into the base crit chance for your totems as well. So that makes it for a very, very simple playstyle to level up. With like infinite rage sustain and good damage. Good tankiness. Lots of sustain with the healing. You do lose out on the 40% movement speed. So this quest here, you don't have to go and do it. You can just skip it entirely. Drop package cards. Minion health regen deck. Looking for minion spell damage, essentially. At this point, all I'm doing is summoning healing totems around the monsters that I want to kill. That's all I do. Every single one of my thorns pierce one target. So it has like decent AoE inside of all small little packs of monsters. Well, not AoE, but decent clear, rather. We've got one more level into Summon Spriggan. We're gonna put into the spell damage here. Oh yeah, I actually forgot. So Spriggans are actually companions. Crows are also companions. Wolves are also companions. You can have a maximum of 2 companions early on, which can be increased by specific affixes or passives and whatnot. Well, mostly like, right? But you want to summon your Spriggan, right? And so, while you have your Spriggan summoned, you get the buffs from him. The range is actually really big. I haven't actually looked at the exact range that he gives you, his buffs, but it's actually massive, and you most likely get them all the time. You don't have to command him to like walk with you with A or anything like that. He will just follow you. If you go like too far away, he'll come back to you. And even when he dies and the circle is on the ground, you still get the buffs from his abilities. You only lose the buff when his circle, you haven't revived him, and he completely disappears. That's when you lose the buff. So while you are trying to revive him while he's down, you still get the spell damage, the base crit, the crit avoidance, and all the good stuff. One more level into the spell damage as well. Your next level in Spriggan form is going to go into the armor. That will increase your survivability by quite a bit. We are now level 28. At level 28, what I would want to do is grab 3 points in here to get 10% movement speed while we are in Spriggan form, right? So I'm gonna start speccing into those now. So all you want to do is stay into Spriggan form and cast your totems a little bit in front of you. By the time that you reach your totem, when you see this little animation, your totems heal you, right? But by the time you reach them, any damage you've taken will be healed completely. And yeah, you're like almost immortal with this. Unless you get overwhelmed way too much, or you get one-shot by something. So if you keep your resistances up to the level of the area level you're in, so in area level 27, you want to have at least 27 resistance of the damage types that you want that you'll be taking. The necrotic res is good in here because like lots of monsters are necrotic. How much health do you need to prevent being one shot? I don't have the exact value really. Just whatever health shards you have. Try to craft them on your gear as you go by. And yeah, try to avoid big telegraphed attacks because those will always hurt no matter what. See, right now at this point I have 400 life. If you had 500 life by this point, that would be pretty good. Thing is, it's not always all about life, right? There's like, oh my goodness, this axe is good. 38, 148. Holy crap, dude. That axe is insane. There's also other things like endurance threshold. If you receive a crit or not. So minions, like the attacks that you receive from monsters, they can always crit, right? So if they crit you, then you're pretty much done for it. If it's a big telegraphed attack. But for the most part, you should be fine. Find yourself being a little too squishy, stop for a moment, check your resistances, check if you can see craft some health. Yeah, good. So mainly when I do my speedruns, the only resistance I really craft is going to be physical. I'm gonna try to craft some health on my gear as well. As much health and enough physical res. Next point is gonna go into the chance for double damage, right? I'm gonna go into 1 point into every node that gives me damage, and then I'm gonna start scaling them. Here we already maxed out the spell damage, so we're gonna go for the base crit chance now. That is also going to give base crit to our totems, and any increased totem crit chance will now be increased by that much more because our base crit chance is gonna be. So really easy. Cast your totems in front of you. That could be good. Try to get the shards out of this. And then one more point. We got 10% more movement speed while in Spriggan form now. We're sitting at 31%. Maybe I could craft a little bit more movement speed onto my boots. Yep. But we're sitting at 34% movement speed. Here, I will still go in and out of form. You know, just to like accelerate the process of killing this guy. There we go. Then you want to talk to this NPC, Alric, and be on your way. You don't need to talk to this guy. Again, Spriggan form, and we're good. I'm gonna grab these idols, because we're starting to have some idle slots now. Mana, void, health, is... Oh, I think I sold my amulet, did I? The amulet that got a crit success and I was not able to equip anymore. So yeah, we should be grabbing another amulet. One more point to the Spriggan, into the crit and the crit avoidance. You don't need to talk to this NPC. Just keep going. As you can see, we have a tremendous amount of damage. 6 attunement? Actually good, right? For our next point, we are going to go into Focus Wrath because I kind of want to sustain my my form a little bit better. Like, technically, I could have not went here, and as soon as I unlock my Spriggan, I could have started focusing on the Shaman tree to get more damage from my totem, right? I kind of want to sustain a little bit more. I think with just 1 point, it might be enough, actually. Yeah, 1 point is probably enough. Okay, this is pretty good. We have health, increased health, vitality. All good stuff on this. Very good defensive chest piece. If that dodge rate was medium damage, that shit would be insane. So next point again, into armor. You want to scale the armor as much as possible in this form to be tanky. Another ring. Arboreal Circuit. Okay, I do like Arboreal Circuit quite a bit. So we're going to replace this. Just because it's movement speed. And when you get hit, it casts a decoy, which takes all the aggro off of you. Oh, nice. We got an amulet with some minion damage. Can we craft minion damage? No, we cannot, but we can probably craft health. Right? Let's see what else we can craft on this thing. Level 36 forge. Vitality. Grab more vitality. We can grab. Cannot grab health, but we could grab. We're gonna wait for this one. Here. What am I missing? I'm missing some fizz res now, right? Let's try to go for fizz res. Minion damage. Attunement? No, we can't. Okay. Right, that's pretty good. Now you need to talk to this guy down here. Then we're gonna go rescue this other guy here, which will give us a passive. In our summon Spriggan, again, the base crit. Oh, that was actually pretty good. Another ring. Oh. When you talk to this guy, you will get a passive. Yeah, and it's 20% minion damage, actually. I'd probably rather go here now. Even if I don't get the fizz res from this, I'll get it somewhere else. So here, I think the 1 point is going to be enough to sustain my form. So I'll go into you and your minions penetrate enemy physical, cold, and lightning res. That's going to be another multiplier of your damage. Talk to this guy. Then you need to go here. Like when you build properly and you kill some monsters along the way of the campaign, it is so good. Just like some other games, right? There are some builds that are better off early on that, you know, maybe have better skill trees or just scale more easily or have a certain mechanic that makes them like better to use early than some other skills. And then there are some other skills that are just like very high investment skills. So here I had to kill the monster and the big monster and then talk to the NPC. Mm. 8% mean. This one has like big. No, if you don't want to move into it and you just want LA res, right? It gives you 18% LA res for a gold ring. So you kill this eye and you come in here, talk to this guy, and you go into the portal that he opened.
About the diamond matrons, you'll regret it.
Okay, let's put up points. More armor into Spriggan form. Then I'm going to go into more penetration as well. dispel the barrier, and you enter the Oracle's abode. It should take a bit more than, I'd say maybe like 3 hours to get all passive and idols is reasonable. If you follow this this build path. So you want to talk to this guy here and the other one here. This one unlocks another side quest that we'll do to get passive and idols. And this one just gives you a passive point, right? So passive point again in here. And then the other NPC that we talked to is going to unlock the Shining Cove, the Sapphire Tablet quest. So you go back to the Shining Cove. And this is also very close to the entrance of the Temporal Sanctum dungeon, which is the dungeon that you use, that you do to get, to make unique items with LP legendary. So what is that? That is infusing a exalted item into a unique with LP to like grab some of its stats and put them on the unique. So in the best case scenario, you could have a unique item with 4 LP that would be able to grab 4 stats out of another item that is exalted. So in last Epoch, you can have like insane gear actually, if you're lucky enough, right? Items have different chances of getting high LP, ranging from 1 to 4 the LPs. Some items are like pretty much impossible to get with 4 LP, or like so unlikely that nobody will ever see it in like a million years. But some other items are like quite reasonably attainable with 3 to 4 LP. Alright, so you interact with this little lever, and then there's this little rare enemy that you have to kill. And it has been spell damage. Let's grab this. We can't. So you grab the Sapphire Tablet. I suggest you go into the this next area for the Temporal Sanctum to get the waypoints. So grab the waypoint here, and then you go back to continuing the story. So we'll quickly take a look. We're level 33 right now. We have Thorn Totem spec for the single projectile with 1 pierce, with the mana sustain, with 3 totems, so +1 totem, and 1 point to do all the damage nodes. We have Summon Spriggan for the spell damage and the base crit and crit avoidance. This is the most important things that you want, but this will also give it to all of your totems. And we're in Spriggan form, casting healing totems that cast the thorns from the thorn tree. And we have 3 additional totems, always summoning 3 totems, and we're trying to spec as much into armor as possible. Our passive are always attunement, minion damage. We're grabbing some endurance and armor here. We're grabbing some strength and attunement. Strength also gives us percentage armor, right? So it's increasing our survivability and our damage. We're grabbing some damage for minions here. A little bit less rage decay while we are in Spriggan form, and 10% movement speed while we're in Spriggan form, also giving us attack and cast speed for us and our minions. Then we're scaling also the attunement and penetration node in the Shaman tree. In Shaman tree, we're going to try to go for this node here, which gives Avatar of Thunder, minion spell, lightning damage. This will give them flat damage. Even though the totems deal physical damage, giving them flat spell damage will still scale off of stats like increased minion damage, increased totem damage, stuff like that, right? It will just not scale off of minion physical damage, right? It will scale off of minion spell damage as well. So this node is really important. Avatar of Thunder. We're gonna go for ancestral speed as well. So when we cast a totem, we have a chance to gain haste. And we're also going to go for additional fizz and early res for each active totem. So that's going to be a very good one to increase our survivability very easily. And also, of course, Rune of Awe, which is the most important one in the Shaman tree right now because it gives you a lot of minion spell damage. So we just did the quest. We're going to talk to this NPC here, which gives us another passive point, right? So, oop, another one. And we keep going. Primalist struggles early on, but he's so smooth to level afterwards. So this is the first of many that I will do like this to showcase how to level characters. The next one is going to be the Rogue. One more point into Summon Thorn Totem. So now we're going to put more points into Ancient Power to get even more damage. I mean, I wonder, maybe I should like just do all the Primalists leveling and then go into other classes. Is this good? It's not gonna be better than what I have. Alright, I'm getting baited. Because usually I do the skip here. I skip this entire area. There is another skip that you can do if you have the crows. If you have Storm Crows with Sky Passage to be able to use them as a movement ability. And you skip like most of this area. Alright, we're level 34. Level 34. We are going to go... We're going to keep pushing the penetration here. So all I'm doing is walking forward, casting totem on a regular pattern. Every time that I reach my totems, I'm getting fully healed. The totems automatically target anything in range. Feels pretty good. Okay, so this boss here, Spy Master Zerek. Okay, you can see he said there's instances where you see blocked, right? So when you are at a range from him, he usually closes up like this. In this state, he blocks any hits that you deal against him. He will still take the damage from the dots, though. Just the regular damage from dots. So, ideally, what you want to do is either be close to him so that he opens up, or deal damage with dots. Good thing is, Summon Vines is actually really powerful for applying poisons, right? So, you can cast your totems and put Summon Vines, but he will still take a lot of damage even when he goes and he closes up and blocks all of your attacks, all of your hits. And yeah, that makes it easier to fight him. We will have to fight him again in the story a little bit later. So that is something to keep in mind.
This comes quickly.
Here we talk to this NPC and then we wait here.
I'll get us out of here.
Teleporting us to the desert way station. This NPC, as you talk to her, opens the door. These desecrated flesh, you do AoE around them. If you are near to them, right next to them, there's like a safe area. And in the story, I just never use the rune prisons because these guys are quite hard during the story, right? So I suggest waiting till we get to Monolith to kill these guys, because they are quite difficult. And they will kill you if you are not prepared. They have random abilities that they can have, and you don't really know what you're going to end up with. I just suggest skipping entirely during the story. And you see me not going back into human form because ideally I want to avoid dying. I want to keep my armor and my healing up. So we've got all of the important nodes for Summon Spriggan. At this point, either you go for the Spriggan survivability or your survivability even more, right? So your Spriggan healing aura also grants additional dodge rating per point of your attunement. So that's where we're going to go to. So now we unlock the new skill slot specialization. Things opens up at this point. You have a lot of choice. So the three main abilities for the Thorn Totem build are Summon Thorn Totem, Summon Spriggan, and Spriggan. These are the three main skills that you really want on your bar as a specialization. There are a couple of different ones that you could get. If you are using a unique relic, which enables you to cast Storm Totem, you could use Storm Totem for the damage and movement speed that it provides as well, because you're scaling its damage quite significantly as well, right? So you could spec into Storm Totem to go to the move speed. You could spec right now in this patch into Ice Thorns to get some armor when it automatically procs from being hit. Ice Thorns is, I believe, is getting removed for 1.0, and Tempest Strike is getting changed. You could also spec into Aether's Blessing to revive your companion from a range, from afar. There are multiple different things that you could do, and the choice is yours. Right now, what I am going to do is, because I want to go a little bit faster sometimes, I will spec into Summon Storm Totem, And I'm just gonna go into the movement speed. You have to talk to this NPC. Make sure to talk to him. And I'm gonna stay in human form and utilize the movement speed that Storm Totem gives me. And my movement ability to go a little bit faster. But ultimately, the choice is really yours. You could spec into another companion if you would like. Yeah, this area is not too dangerous. The next one, though, is. Like, the Osprixes can, like, hurt quite a bit. Oh, we got a unique. Okay, not a very good one, so not gonna bother. We've got an extra passive point. We're gonna max out Shamanic and Free. And then spec into one more point into the move speed, into the Storm Totem, and then one more point into the armor for the Spriggan form. In this area, I like transforming to Spriggan form because monsters can hit you quite hard in here. Having those healing totems really just make it like walk in the park to go through this area. You don't need to do this quest. You can just skip it entirely. Right, so we have all the movement speed that we need. We're gonna go into the hit damage against shocked enemies. Because we're already scaling minion damage so hard. And we can always go back into human form if we want. We found quite a bit of uniques in this one actually. Right, we've got some idols here. Not this one, but increased minion spell damage. So that's going to be very good for us. Right? Level 37. So that is quite a bit over the level I am when I'm doing my speedruns, and it does feel extremely nice. So in Storm Totem, I went for another point into the damage. In the Shaman tree now, what you'll want to go for is going to be, well, you have kind of a couple of options. You want armor with active totems. You could be more tanky, right? You could have some increased minion damage here. Or you could go for the health here. Get health, shock chance on hit, and chill chance on hit. But mainly for the health. So I will go with the damage just because, you know, damage is good. And then we're going to go into 2 points into Stormbringer for the prerequisites to going into Avatar of Thunder. Here, you need to come down here, open the door, talk to this NPC here, and you can be on your merry way. The only reason we're doing this is to get access to the subject. All right. And so you finish getting all your passive and idols once you reach a certain point in Heoboria. You don't actually have to do the entire campaign because there are other mechanics you can use to kind of skip parts of the campaign. So what I would do is go into grab all passive and idols, start doing monos, and when I'm a bit more powerful and I want to go into Act 9 and finish the campaign and get my +1 to all stats, I just use a Temporal Sanctum key. You kill Jolra in Tier 1, and after Jolra you end up in Chapter 9 already. So you skip like most of the story that you would have to do otherwise. On a first playthrough, though, I would suggest going through the story, like from start to finish, just to get the experience from it, and get the, the devs' vision of like what they want you to go through the story. The story is also a really good tutorial to the game. Unlocking your abilities one by one, getting introduced to new monsters one by one, and stuff like that. Those monsters you will see again in Monolith once you reach that point. Right, so here you just keep going forward. We have a couple levels. I am going to put more points into Ancient Power, get dodge rating per attunement, and I'm going to get a bit more damage out of this. Here I'm going to go for the 2 points into Stormbringer, as I said, to get the prerequisite for the next one. So here is where you have to kill Arton and Zarek again. And this is done. Talk to Yuli, talk to the NPC. And enter the portal. Okay, this is the next point where it's kind of like a difficulty increase, which is quite massive. This is I'd say this is probably the second hardest part of the game, if you are not prepared. In here, I like to stay in the Spriggan form and, you know, just kill stuff along the way. It's like all very small corridors like this. Got one more point in the Storm Totem. We're gonna go to the right side and try to go down to get some even more damage out of it. I mean, skills you have per class, per characters. Oh, how many skills in total? It's kind of different between all the characters and all the masteries. As you can see, Beastmaster has 5, Shaman has 4, Druid has 5, and that's not counting like all the other ones you can have in the base class. I don't know, maybe like an average of like 20 something abilities per. And the fact is that you can also use like the first half of the other masteries. So you can, even if you're a druid, you can still use like Tornado or Summon Bear, which is like in the Shaman tree or in the Beastmaster tree. You just need to invest points into those specific trees to unlock them. So there's like maybe like 4 skills that you can't use per mastery, probably. So like Beastmaster has 2 that are locked, Druid has 2, and Shaman has only 1 that is locked. Right, so you can use like all of these other ones. Is this a good game and should you buy this now? Yes, absolutely. 1.0 is coming out on February 21st. 1.0 is going to introduce the Warlock and the Falconer. Yeah, this game, if you like ARPGs, this game is a must-buy. If you like ARPGs, this game is a must. Like, at the very least, I'd say Steam has a 2-hour refund policy, right? Try it. If you really don't feel it, you can always ask for a refund, but I highly doubt that you will refund. I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy this game if you are a fan of it. We're maxing out the armor. Talk to this NPC and talk to this NPC as well. Right? And then they will teleport you to the town of Hioboria. This is the place where we will end the run really soon. As soon as we unlock all of our remaining passive and idols. You talk to this NPC here. And I'm unsure if you need to talk to this guy, but like I think you do. Right? We unlock both of these. Go down first. Is this to the level of Diablo 4, Lost Ark, or Path of Exile, if I'm comparing? So I'd say this is between... in terms of endgame content, it has more endgame than Diablo 4. It has less endgame than Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a game that is 10 years old. It has a lot for it. And they've had a lot of time developing mechanics and things to do in the endgame. Last Epoch is just going to release on February 21st, 2024. I'd say it still has way more chase and endgame than Diablo 4, but it's not to the level of Path of Exile. In terms of build, theory crafting, and, you know, character building, it has way more than Diablo 4. It has still less than Path of Exile. It's like the middle ground between Diablo 4 and Path of Exile, where it's not too complex, it still has a lot of depth, and it has depth without too much complexity. That's one thing that I like about it, is that it's very approachable, it has depth, but it's not too complex. So the main thing about this game, I think, is a lot of people will enjoy actually building multiple different characters in multiple different ways. You need to talk to this NPC, by the way. You will want to build multiple characters probably, and that is one fun part about it. Like every single skill having its own transformative skill tree, which can, you know, like scale its damage in another way, or like make it do like a lightning skill, like gets converted to fire or to cold or to something else. You don't really get the like I don't know what killed me one-shot things like you might see in other games. Usually if you die, you kind of really know what's going on and why you died. Like the game interacts well with monsters, so the combat is actually engaging because you need to be aware of what monsters do, how to avoid it, how to avoid certain abilities. Yeah, it's really a fun, interactive, and engaging combat system with a fun and engaging theory crafting part. And it does not have a lot of complexity, but it has depth. So it's really nice for that. And I appreciate the game a lot for that. And there's also a ladder which you can push for rank 1 on the leaderboard, right? Currently, there are some bugged builds that push way too high, right? We're still in beta. I expect them to be some bugged builds probably still in 1.0, but they will the devs will probably have a much more a better approach at balance and bug fixes and like quicker response time to the most broken things in the game, because it's gonna be like it's gonna have like much more coverage, right? That's what I think. Like, I'm not actually sure about this. We shall see. But yeah, I highly recommend this game. It's fun and it has good pace for items. The items are also like really fun too. Like there's a thing you can do with legendaries where you grab a unique. Sometimes unique will drop with legendary potential. So they have the potential to steal stats from another of your items and put them onto it. So you can have like a full unique item, and you could theoretically imprint another unique, all 4 of its stats into it, so you have like basically 2 items into one. So that is really a nice part of itemization and, you know, like thinking outside the box. Oh, I have this, you know, this exalted item that I'm using right now. Like, could I not get a unique item with like LP that I could just grab maybe these 2 stats and put it onto this item, and it would be like just so much better? Like, those are things that you can think about in Last Epoch. So for this quest here, you need to come kill this beast here that I killed down here. Yeah, crafting is insane. Loot filter is insane. Yeah, and it's all very approachable. That's the nice thing about it. You think Ellie will take PvP for do I think Ellie will implement PvP in the future? They have not said no, but they have not said yes. I'm struggling to figure out what ARPGs to play. I've bought D4, D3, D2R, Grim Dawn, and Titan Quest. And now I'm thinking of getting Last Epoch, but I haven't really played the other games I've bought. Do you know what may be causing this lack of motivation? The lack of a goal in the games that you play. Why are you playing these games? Because when you lose motivation... Oh, actually, for this quest, you need to kill the... I think I've... There's a monster over here that you need to kill. The Eber. The reason why people lose motivation in playing video games is because you don't have a goal anymore. Or, actually, ARPGs, you need to strive for something. It's character... I like character progress, right? And so, for example, if I make myself the goal of... if I give myself the goal of... I need... Like, okay, right now, I want to build this Shaman with the Thorn Totems, right? I want to find a 2 LP Titan Heart and craft this onto it. I want to craft this. I want to increase my damage. I want to increase my survivability. I want to reach rank 1 arena. I want to reach, or just like 500 waves arena. I want to reach 500 corruption in the Monolith of Faith. You need to set yourself some goals. That's the most important parts in RPGs. If you don't have a goal and you're just playing to kill monsters, you're not gonna play for a very long time. Another thing is getting engaged with the community as well. Last Epoch's community is actually very nice. It's one of the best gaming communities that I've been part of. Everyone is just so nice with each other. I don't know. It's a very tightly knit community. And you set goals, but you don't really feel engaged enough to come back to the game and reach goals. I mean, maybe ARPGs are just not for you. I don't know. It's all about, you know, sometimes I've had moments in my life as well where I didn't really felt like playing ARPGs, or I didn't really felt like playing video games, or I just, you know, you spend 3 months blasting a video game, and then you spend 3 months doing, I don't know, rock climbing or whatever else. And then you know, it comes back after a while. That, hey, I kind of feel like killing monsters and being OP and progressing a character and leveling up. For me, I know leveling up is like really, for me, it gives me, I don't know. Okay, so this boss here, you don't need to kill. You just need to like walk through and you'll get teleported. For me, it's always been trying to balance things out in life, you know? They said they would add PvP, would definitely not be their focus if they would add PvP. Yeah. But they did not say no, right? They did not say no, and they did not say no. You played PoE for 30 hours, but it felt too complex. Yeah, it depends. It depends why you're playing these games. What do you enjoy in an RPG, right? It all comes down to that. What do you enjoy in these type of games? Alright, so now we're heading towards the last boss that we need to kill to get access to all of our passive and idols. So I suggest talking to this NPC. It does not take long, and he will follow you and he'll help you kill the boss. You're gathering the loot and the leveling. I think you'll have a good time in last Epoch. I think you would have a good time in last Epoch because the loot is interesting in many ways. There's also, you know, it's not stupid to say, but like just things like plus skills, you know, like I'm playing with Thorn Totems. You will find gear that have +4 level of summon Thorn Totem, and you'll be like, holy moly, +4 levels. I can put 4 more points into the skill tree. Like some skills you really want to scale the like some skills 20 is not enough, and you're like, man, you really have to make tough choices. And then with gear you might be able to get 24, 26, 30, like more than 30 skill points to a single skill that usually you're only able to get 20 points. Like that feels really good, you know? And then there's like the regular gear, and then there's the exalted gear and the legendary gear. And then the idols. Idols feels very good to find as well. You've got multiple ways of scaling your character with gear, with points, with levels, with blessings. You know, there's just a lot. There's just a lot. I feel like the character progression feels pretty good. I think maybe you reach a certain point where you feel like it's very hard to get upgrades at some point. But I don't know. For me, it feels really good. Like it does not take too long to get a character going, but it can take a long time to get a character to its absolute limit. So once you've killed this tree boss, you talk to this one here. You talk to this NPC. He will teleport you back to town, and we are pretty much done after this. I've heard the leveling in LE is a lot better than in other games. I feel like it's about the same, no? It's about the same. So you talk to this NPC. Talk to this NPC as well.
Yes, if to be honest, I can't imagine it.
And you finally talk to this NPC here. Now if you press M, you should have 15 out of 15 passive points rewards and 8 out of 8 idle slot rewards. If you missed anything, look at what quest you missed that they would give you a passive or an idle slot. And if you missed anything, don't worry. There are other quests that you can do to reach 15 out of 15 and 8 out of 8. So after getting this, you want to go to the end of time. Now what's going to happen is you are going into monoliths, right? So monoliths is the endgame system of Last Epoch, the main endgame system of Last Epoch, kind of like maps in PoE. So what you want to do, you want to start gearing out for the start of monolith, right? So the first monolith is going to be level 55. No, is it 55? No, it's 58. It's the level 58 area. So you want to try to get your resistances up to, at least 58, right? So we're going to go into here. We already have a ring here that has 18% LA res. It also has minion damage, which is quite nice, right? So with this, we're missing some physical res. I am going to try to grab physical res here, right? Oh, we actually don't have any other shards for physical res. So let's go with this. I actually don't have any. Okay.
Hey there.
Well, you could gamble if you'd like. You could gamble to get, your resistances up, your damage up, whatever you need up.
Not bad.
If you ever so need. But with this build, you're actually tanky enough just with the armor and the healing totems that you could decide to go into monoliths right away. If you need to gamble, good things to note are plated belts give you armor, right? Instead of like a belt that does not give you armor, for example. So you could go with this. Try to get increased health on your helm, chest, and belt. Try to get hybrid health on your belt, boots, and gloves. And yeah, just try to like get as tanky as possible and as much damage as possible and go into monolith. So let's see what we can do with our gear here. Don't have too much in spell damage. What can we get as a prefix? There's nothing much, right? Here I'm going to go with. I would need a bit more. Actually, no, my fizz res is fine because we are Shaman. This is going to cover all of our physical res, right? So, never mind what I said. We're going to go for a little bit more damage here. We're going to go for the points to the haste chance when you summon a totem. So, the only thing I'm going to worry about now is going to be mostly necrotic, but at the same time, that's going to be fine, right? The first mono, you want necrotic res though. Because the boss does some amount of necrotic damage. Let's go with a little bit of that. Alright, we got 42%. That's going to be good enough. Did I keep this for some reason? Alright. Hey, Vorpal Blade and Fluffy Fluffies. Thanks for the follows, guys. I think you're right. PoE is too complex for me, and D4 doesn't feel like it has enough depth. Based off what I've seen and what I've heard people say about Elite, it'll probably be a good fit for what I feel like isn't pulling me back to play. I think it is. I think it is. It has like, I don't know. It has like nice ways to scale your character. Especially like, if you're not like someone that abuses, and spend thousands of hours in game, with thousands of hours, you will at some point probably get bored of some of games like these, and you just take a break and come back after a while. But if you just play like a couple hours a day or like a couple hours a week or something like that, I think Ellie has a really, really good spot. I mean, even for Blasters, I mean, I've played thousands of hours of LE, and I'm still not bored of it. I still discover things. There's still, you know, it has a lot of depth and not a lot of complexity, but I still learn things. I don't know everything about the game. You still learn things every day. Okay, at this point we start seeing way too many items on the ground, right? So I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna add a rule, which is gonna be hide all items. I'm gonna put this at the bottom, and it's only gonna recolor the items that I want to see, right? So now what I will want to do, I'm not leveling anymore, right? So I don't need all of these rules that I put here. I'm gonna do something here. It's gonna be show me. What I want is totem stuff, right? Show me Primalist, right? Spell damage for totems, totem critical strike chance, totem damage, level of thorn totem. Show me idols for crit chance for totem, haste when you summon a totem, totem damage. Show me these things, right? Actually, no. I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna do recolor, emphasize, red, emphasize as red. I'm gonna rename this to idols, right? So what are the idols that I want to see? Okay. Some really, really good idols early on usually are just general idols that have life, right? I want to see those. Right? I want to see idols that have resistances, but I don't really care about Fizz, Fire, Cold, Lightning, because my mastery is going to take care of it for me. So what I want to see maybe early on might be some Void, Poison, or Necrotic Res idol. Maybe. These I can remove after when I don't need them anymore. The other idols that I want to see are going to be the Primalist. Wait a second. Did I actually? Yeah. Okay. That's good. So the other idols that I want to see are going to be the totem stuff, right? Totem idols. Make sure to click, if you're doing an idol rule, make sure to use the rules from the idol filter. So I want to see maybe cast speed for totem, crit chance for totem, gain haste. Yeah, that's pretty good. Totems are also minions, so I might want to see some minion stuff, right? So I might want to see minion critical strike chance. I might want to see spell damage for you and your minions. So those are some idols that I will want to see. I think that is pretty much it, right? Okay. But this is gonna be my idol rule here. Then I'm going to add another rule, which is gonna be recolor. I'm gonna recolor this color, emphasize. This is gonna be for my gear, right? You can do like a very, very simple filter for your gear, based on affixes, and you can push it further. The further you go into the game, the more knowledge you gain as to what you want to see. But ideally, you really want to, ease into it a little by little, so that everything that you learn like imprints into your brain, basically, right? At least that's the way I see things. So, first of all, for this is gonna be for our affixes. We're gonna go for totem stuff. Spell damage for totems is insane. Totem critical strike chance, totem damage, level of thorn totem. Cast speed for totem I will not put because we're gonna scale our cast speed first. So all of these skills, all of these affixes, we might want to see attunement, right? We might want to see something like health and increased health, right? Increased health and hybrid health. We might want to see that. Yeah, I'm not gonna put added health, but you could, but I'm not gonna put it here. Resistances and armor, I don't really want to see that. Because ideally my gear is gonna revolve around all of these other things, right? Which are going to be all of these other affixes, which are going to be more beneficial to me than just going for, like, crafting from a health based item. It's much easier to get the health shards than to get the increased spell damage shards for totems, especially early on. So that is why I am going to go with that. So for other things like that, for our weapons, for example, on our weapons, we want to see minion physical damage and minion spell damage. We also want to see cast speed, because we're essentially going to want a staff eventually with cast speed, minion physical, and minion spell damage. So that's what we're going to go for. There's also multiplier, class specific minion critical strike multi, right? So that is another stat that we will want to see on items. We want to see movement speed. Want to see movement speed. We also want to see minion damage. We also want to see minion damage. What else do we want to see? So I think those are the main stats that we really want to see on items. Yep, I think that's pretty much what we want to see. I mean, okay, technically we could go with added health, and we could go with shall we go with endurance? I'm not gonna put endurance right away. Actually, yes, okay. We actually need a little bit of endurance. So we're gonna put endurance. Okay? And so you do show me items with at least 2 of these affixes on the same items, and that the total affix tiers, right? The total affixes of these stats combined, at least 2 on the same item. Show me if the affix tiers are more or equal than, 4. Show that to me, right? So these are going to be items that are good for the build. Items for the build. Then there's another rule you want to see, right? You want to show item rarity. Show me all unique, sets, and exalted, right? Show me all of these. And then I want to add another rule, one that I really like to do. I recolor as yellow. You can use any color that you want, right? But if the affix is at least one of these affixes on the item, I select them all, right? Show me all tier 7 as another color. So that when I'm mapping, right, when I'm running through these echoes, I know for a fact that an item has a tier 7 mod on it if it's yellow, right? At least one tier of individual affix must be more or equal than 7, right? This is gonna be show me tier 7 exalted. So recolor any tier 7 exalted. Show me all unique set and exalted items. Recolor items for my build. Recolor the idols that I want. And then hide everything else. That's gonna hide a lot. It's gonna make me able to like filter through these much easier. There's one more rule that I want to see. It's gonna be recolor, but it's pink, emphasize. This is gonna be a rule that is gonna be called foreshadowing, right? So if you see anything that has wait, totem. Spell damage for totem, level of thorn totem, totem crit, totem damage. Those are the most, I think, yeah, those are the most important ones. The other ones, show me also for the moment, right? I don't have a lot of these shards, so I want to go see minion physical damage and minion spell damage, right? Because I don't have a lot of these, and I just want to gather a little bit more of these shards. So I think that's it. No. Hybrid health, pretty rare. So the rare affixes I will want to like, you know, extract and try to build my forge with some of these shards so that I can craft on many items to try and get like a really good item. And there's one last one, which is going to be critical strike multiplier or minion, right? So 8 selected. Any item that has at least one of these affixes on the same item, I'm going to use for shattering. And this rule, I'm going to put lower than the other ones, right? Because if they have 2 of the stats with more or equal affix tier than 4, then they might just be really good for my build. But if they only have 1, you know, maybe they're not that great. So as you get better and better gear, you can start putting this higher and higher, tier 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know, up to the point where you feel comfortable that, you know, you might be missing some items, but you'll see most of them that have a good crafting potential for you, right? So those are mainly the rules that I use, right? These were the rules for my leveling. Leveling, it doesn't really matter because your items will change so drastically in the end game anyways. But you go shards for like items for shattering. You show your idols. You show the items for your build. You show all unique set and exalteds, and I'll recolor the tier 7 exalted. That's like a really basic filter. So that's what I'm gonna go with, right? I'm gonna start with this. As you can see, some actually, as you can see here, items dropped, but my loot filter hit them all because they just are not good for me. Like, I don't really care about these things, right? So yeah, let's just go and keep playing. Loot filler in Illy is awesome. I will have to rewatch his VOD. Do you have a YouTube videos on becoming a loot filler master? I do, but I will have to remake one for 1.0 for sure. I want to, like, I've done these videos quite a bit in the past. Couple months ago, maybe a year ago. So I kind of have to give them a nice little refresh. So here in Summon Thorn Totem, we're gonna keep scaling our damage, right? Here we want to go, since we got all the things that buff us, we're gonna go for our minion survivability. We're gonna go, we've already got the armor, we've already got this. We're gonna get more, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go for the more healing, and we're gonna try to go for the Spirit Torn Peace Strands, because eventually we're gonna use an item that has a chance to summon a Storm Totem for us. So with the Pierce, we're gonna have access to like better hits and better chance to proc our Storm Totem. And here we're trying to get to the damage node. So we just keep going. We forgot to put points in here. We're gonna max out Ancestral Speed to try to get haste when we summon a totem. Keep in mind, even though we're summoning 3 totems with our Spriggan form, we're only proccing 1 instance of this because it's per task, not per totem that is. So yeah, that is a very basic filter that will filter out most, like, pretty much all the crap that you don't want to see. So Monolith is basically just you have small objectives to do, whether it's kill this monster or like get an ambush or do this, do that. There are no free prisoners, so no need to be scared about that. And we just keep going. So we want to go as far from the center as possible when we're getting into monos. So that you get more timeline stability and you can spawn the boss that much quicker. But the further you are, the more the echoes give you timeline stability. And timeline stability is what is needed to do the quest to finally reach the boss. That is only in regular Monolith. In Empowered Monolith, you don't need to do the 2 previous quests to kill the boss. You can just like do echoes and kill the boss to get the loot. Alright, thanks to them. Appreciate it. As you can see, it filters out a lot of the crap. So we haven't seen a single item so far. Actually wondering if I did this correctly. I will double check, but like, pretty sure. Good, because if you see an item, you know it's good. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want, actually. See? You see an item. Oh, no, it's good. No, it has the stats that we want. At least 4 tiers of the stats that we want. Okay, so we found this item. This item has attunement, armor, and health, right? So that is pretty good. That is pretty good. We are not able to equip it because it's level 46 required. But we're going to keep it, right? And you could drop all of your other items on the ground and see if, they are worth keeping or not. Got these. They might be worth keeping. They have cast speed and medium damage, right? Pretty good. Ideally, I don't want this. I would want some health, some hybrid health. We've got this. This is okay.
Yes.
Sell these things. Right.
Take care.
I will try to go for the idle nodes. Yeah, that bug when the visuals get darker, it's always after killing Lith, no? But yeah, essentially, you have like the core of the build already. Now it's just like scaling at this point. Got some gloves. Then at some point when you realize that you're seeing too much, you know, just go back in your filter and you do, okay, I want like more, give me more tiers or whatever, right? Or you can like, you could like add another rule to this, add another condition, add more rules like this, but like for maybe every slot. And, you know, the item type has to be this certain base that I only want to see, or this or that. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Here we want to go for boom, boom, boom. The next points are going to go into Avatar of Thunder. That's going to give us even more damage. So Avatar of Thunder, Rune of Awe, the Protective Circle, and then also Elder Branch for even more for even more spell damage. So here we see that we have health and armor with attunement. It also gives us 44 physical res. The thing is that this one has percentage health. I'm gonna keep this one in my bag. See, this one is like, could be nice. It has cast speed and health, but it does not have as much minion damage. And I kind of want minion damage for now. So I'm just gonna keep going with this one. Did I not just do this arena? 2 arenas in a row. Okay, so now we see the pink. That means that it has something that I want to shatter, right? So this thing here, I actually put in here. I will use a rune of shattering or a rune of removal to try to get some shards out of it. I only have 1 rune of removal, so I'm going to use the rune of shattering. See, we got a +1 minion spell damage shard sent to the fort. So when you reach a point where you have enough of these shards, well, you can just like remove that affix from your loot filter, and you know you're good for a good while. So I'd say, yeah, there are not that many rules that you really must have for your filter, but there are certain ones that are like just really, really good to go. Okay, so now we got a couple of idols, right? Fill this up with some void res, fill this up with some increased minion spell damage, and then we have well, poison res for the acolyte. I don't really want this. You could also, there's another rule that you could do. If you only want to find things for your class, you could do class requirements, mage, blah 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 blah, all the other class, right? And you could just hide this, right? Hide all of the stuff for the other class first, right? And then, you know, follow the positioning of the rules here. And then all of your early ones, you don't really need, right? So we're going to go for even more damage here. So we're going to go for Impale. This one I'm going to go for Tankiness. This one we're going to go for the Branch Storm, but we want some Totem Healing as well. And here we want to get some more damage. One unspent point that we are going to put into the Shaman tree into Avatar of Thunder. Yeah, I think for newer players, it's nice. Oh, nice. See, we got the an exalted belt with exalted fire res. At the end of the day, your filter will probably resemble something like just show me exalted. And that's it. But and you might even filter out certain affixes for exalted as well. Okay, so here we have an item which has crit multi-wall transform, minion crit multiplier. Wait, this does not work. Oh yes, because it has it needed to have 2 stats on it. Right? So this minion crit multiplier here with crit multi-wall transformed, it requires a level 58. I will keep this to. I don't have any shards right now. So the thing you can do is buy. This vendor always has a couple of runes of shattering. Which shatter this. You get the minion crit multi-shard. But ideally you want to use rune of removal on the rarer on the ones that are rarer. So that you're guaranteed, right? To get the shards out of it. What's the point of collecting Exalted if it doesn't have the affixes for your build? Well, the thing is that Exalteds are much rarer, right? So, you never know when you will want another Exalted affix. Maybe for another character or something. Right? Oh, nice. We got 3% crit chance for totems. That's base crit. $26, $29, $22. I'm gonna go like this. Actually, we can do this. Good stuff. We've got even more base crit for our totems now. Like, you never know when you will want to have, like, another exalted for your character. Right? So that is pretty much the leveling process for Shaman. After this, it's just easy going till empowered monos. So we have one more point. Avatar of Thunder. Giving us even more spell damage. So our next points into our passives are going to increase our damage dramatically. Because all of our next points are for flat spell damage for totem. Which is absolutely massive. really want to optimize your damage, you can also swap out of form and go into human form. Cast some more totems. Just like we did in this story. You know what? Yeah. Not that great. Level 50. More spell damage. And this chest here, it scales with the amount of monsters that you've killed in the previous echo. So you'll get more loot. If you just rush the objective and kill no monsters along the way, you'll get almost no loot out of it. And if you kill many monsters, then you should have way more loot. One tab costs you 700k gold at the moment. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to. Like, constant resets. Constant resets so I don't have to feel bad about keeping loot for too long. You know? My stash tab cost is also reset all the time. And the cycles are going to be so nice. Level 51, Avatar of Thunder. Got a ring. So this ring could be good. Minion damage, and it has endurance. Not much better than what I have, honestly. But I could use it to get the minion damage and to craft minion damage onto this one. I actually did not get the minion damage card. Unfortunate. So we have one more skill specialization that we can use. Again, this is kind of like up to you where you want to put this point, because there's not many options. I am going to put mine into Etheros Blessing, and I'm going to go for the reviving a down companion, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Mana efficiency. Here you see I've unlocked enough time and stability for all 3 quest echoes and the boss. I'm gonna do the first quest here, the ransack camp. Oh, I almost died there, actually. Okay, we have some mean spell damage on this one. We're gonna keep to, can't, but we're gonna keep it. Gonna put more points to mana efficiency. Oh, it's not the echo. I need to do the quest here. Right? You want to do the second quest here, Majelka Streets, and then finally the third quest is going to be the boss quest. Another pink one, so we know we need to dismantle this one. This might be good for us, right? Vitality, increase health, health. Wait, Acolyte? Wait, did I not do this? I just did not do Acolyte. Okay, so this is gonna hide. Yeah, that's true. So if they are for Acolyte and they are not for our build, right? So let's add another condition as to this one to class requirement. Any or Primalist only. That is gonna be for my build. I don't want to see Rogue, Acolyte, Sentinel, Mage, right? Actually, that does not work. Okay. Well, wait, how did that... I wonder if you only do Primalist, if it still shows the one for any class. Actually, no, because it probably does, right? Actually, does not. Actually, does not. So there's no real way. Can't really. But if you do hide above this one here, you're not gonna get the shards for shattering. Yeah, it's like there's not really a good way to do this. I think I have to think about it. All right, Echo conquered. Now you want to go for the boss, Altar of Flesh, the last one. Abomination. This boss, you gotta kill all 4 of the things in the corner first before you're able to damage him. And there you go. You've got a 1 LP Ribbons of Blood. So in this one, you want to not go too fast and dream of the future to unlock the level 66 timeline. Let's go with unique drop rates. So you want to go there because you want to go to the right side of this monolith, to the Black Sun, Ending the Storm, Reign of Dragons, and then finally the last 3 here, to get access to like character power, because the left side only gives you drop rates, right? So yeah, you want to do Fall of the Outcast, Black Sun, Ending the Storm, Reign of Dragons, and then the last 3 that will unlock the empowered monoliths afterwards once you interact with this like stony thing here. So yeah, that's pretty much the leveling guide for the leveling play along, I guess, for the Shaman. Hope you enjoyed, guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.